All right, coaches, welcome to our first day's tryout. So we've got this ready to roll. This is what we are doing with our first tryout. Now we are going to be inside likely. So I put a few things in here for options for outdoors, but I'll kind of explain exactly what we're doing inside, go through the description, teaching points, and then evaluation for each of our segments. So we start with our dynamic warm-up, which you have access to above, same as all the other practice plans that we run. And then here's what we're evaluating at this time. And a lot of kids don't even realize they're being evaluated during this time, but we're evaluating their leadership ability, their character, and their attention to detail. A little thing that we like to do is pick a guy who's maybe not as focused during this time as they should be. Turn your back to them for a few minutes and then come back and take a look at them, see what they're doing, see how they're taking things seriously, see if they're having have attention to detail, or are they screwing around a little bit. I think that gives you a good insight into the type of character a kid may have, something that a lot of kids may not see as that important, but something that we certainly do value is the warm-up and the what that leads to, the tone that sets for each practice and each game. So after that, we're going to go to our base running. Today we're going to do sideline base running in two groups. I am going to be the pitcher, or I'm going to have one of my assistant coaches set up as the pitcher. We'll be in a gymnasium for this, but you may set this up on your left field line. We divide our guys into infielders go in the first group, outfielders and catchers go in the second group. We go through three separate actions here. First couple times through, they'll be taking secondary leads. This is really a good chance just to see if your players know what a secondary lead is coming in. They should be taking 2 or 3 shuffles. And then we actually use a baseball. So I'll either toss the ball up in the air and they have to read it like a fly ball, or I'll throw the ball on the ground and they take off like a ground ball when we're doing the secondary leads. If you don't have that set up yet, that's perfectly fine. You can just see how they take their secondary leads. A lot of kids will just take off running. That does two things. One, it lets you know a little bit about knowledge of the game, but also it's a good teaching point for you. Bring them in, say, hey, guys, would you just take off running in a game with nothing on? Then we go to our hit and run, and then we're going to go to our straight steals after that. We're looking for getting good jumps. We're looking for reading a variety of pitches. Pitchers, every now and then I will pick over to first base just to keep them honest. Then we're going to go our foot speed tests. We have 3 of them here for you. If you're outside and you can run the 60-yard dash, by all means, you should certainly run a 60-yard dash. You're just going to have one coach hold their hand up in the air and drop. You'll have 2 players on each side of a set of cones that spans 60 yards. Each coach will start their stopwatch when their player moves on their first movement, and then we will and then stop it when they cross the line 60 yards away. That's kind of the gold standard for baseball foot speed. For me, I might do a home to second type deal. Then you get a little bit of an idea of the kind of angles they create on the bases. It's the same distance, but it'll be a little bit longer because they have to create angles if they're running home to second. We also do a 5-10-5 shuttle. Really helps you see the change of direction. I do have a link for that in the practice plan, so if you want to click on that, you can see exactly how that's done. And then the 3/4 court steal, this is one we came up with last year, which I think is great. Each player is going to get 2 or 3 opportunities off a pitcher to steal 3/4 court. The coach that's timing each player is going to start on the pitcher's first move. That's when they're going to start the stopwatch, and they're going to stop it through 3/4 court. Now, what's great about this is if the pitcher makes a pickoff move and they go or they get picked off, then they lose that turn completely. All right. So if they get 3 pickoff moves, they get picked off 3 times, they may not even get to go. So they really have to make sure that they're reading you. They can't just go on first move. They've got to read because the pitcher might pick to first base. And this gives you some idea of speed within the context of base running. We've had some guys that I think are very, very fast who don't get good jumps, and they're not very good base stealers. So they don't have practical speed. They have track speed, but they don't have baseball speed. Then we're going to split into 2 groups. We're going to get some velocity readings here. First one we're going to do is we're going to have our infielders doing our throwing program. Pitchers are going to do some of our daily dozen, and then we're going to get position velocity tests off a ground ball. So I'll roll them a ground ball, have a coach with a radar gun behind them, or have a player roll them the ground ball and a coach with a radar gun can be behind them. And we're just going to get their arm strength after they get loose. We're going to get their arm strength from their position. Again, we're looking at things evaluation-wise as they're doing our throwing program. We have a very specific way that we play catch. Are they doing that? Okay, what's their character like? What's their attention to detail? Then we're also evaluating throwing mechanics and arm strength during this time. At the same time, our outfielders and catchers are going to be hitting. They are going to work, just tease around the hitting cage to get loose. Then inside, they're going to get 5 swings off a tee for velocity. We go behind them, so we'll have the radar gun behind them. They hit. The more they're able to hit a line drive up the middle, the higher the reading is going to be. This doesn't really tell us if they can hit or not. What it tells us is if they put the bat on the ball, how much damage are they likely to do? And so, this isn't the be-all, end-all, but what it tells us, if a varsity player's exit velocity is around 70 miles an hour, that tells me they're probably not going to be able to hit for much power. Okay, if his velocity is 85 plus, now all of a sudden, if they put bat on ball, they've got a good chance to do some damage. So that's not the be-all, end-all for us, but I do think it's important to see where they stand. And then that way, when you're hitting in a cage and you see a guy hitting the ball, barreling it up pull side, and you say, okay, well, this guy has a 70 mile an hour exit velocity. So those balls you see going pull side are probably just weak fly balls to left field, or they're maybe not even getting out of the infield. And then another guy with an 85, 90 mile an hour exit velocity, you have a better idea of how that ball is going to carry once you actually get outside. Then in our next segment, they are going to just switch. So our catchers and outfielders will go get their position velocity tested, and then our infielders are going to get their exit velocity off a tee tested. After that, we're going to break up into 2 groups. We're going to go infielders and outfielders. And our catchers at this time will go to their secondary position. We'll be evaluating them more in depth in one of our future tryout plans. It'll be tryout plan number 3. But basically, we're going to give our infielders 4.5 seconds on a routine ground ball to complete a throw to first base. Now, this may be a little bit mucked up if you're inside. It may not be able to make a full 90 feet. I know we can't inside, so we put all our guys at shortstop to do this, so they have to get 4.5 seconds. So we're just going to keep a very simple chart to see how many times they're able to field a ground ball cleanly, make a throw in 4.5 seconds after the ball's hit to them. Again, very basic. I'm not moving them side to side here. We're just getting some numbers on them. We're seeing how well they react. We're going to look at fielding mechanics here. We're going to look a little bit at arm strength. We're looking at tempo. Outfielders, we're going to hit them just routine fly balls if we can. Again, this is a little bit different inside. Inside, we're going to ask them to probably do like a quarterback drill or something like that where they're catching on the run. But if we can get outside and hit them routine fly balls in this first tryout plan, we're definitely going to do that. We want to make sure they're getting behind the ball, catching the ball coming through, using proper footwork, and not drifting to the ball. So all the information that you saw there is put out in the rest of this tryout plan, and that'll be accessible by clicking directly above it.